everybody, and welcome back. Today we'll be starting our new unit on ratios. As you can see, surrounding the digits 10-1, you will see that there are 6 different ratios comparing one quantity of something to another quantity of something else. So that's what we'll be mostly talking about today. Let's get started. Ratio is just a math way to say comparisons, okay? So comparisons are helpful for making plans, predictions, and decisions. We're going to be talking about what math models you can use for making comparisons and which models are helpful in which situations. So I want you to think about this. You don't have to copy this down. A gift shop sells boxes of fruit online, including this box of apples and pears. Use numbers to compare the fruit in 3 different ways. So as you can see in the basket, there are 4 pears and 8 apples. There are actually more than 3 ways to compare this. We're just going to go over 3 of the ways. You can see that there are 4 more apples than pears, which can be written as a subtraction problem or an addition problem where you add 4 plus 4. You can also compare them like this. There are twice as many apples as pears. 8 is twice as many as 4. Or 8 of the 12 fruit are apples. Okay? So those are just like 3 different ways to compare these numbers. Your first note today is going to be talking about what ratios are. A ratio is a relationship in which for every x units of one quantity, there are y units of another quantity. The quantities x and y are the terms of the ratio. Guys, this is a fancy way to say for how many squares we have, there's a certain amount of circles we have. Okay? Here's another way to say this. You use ratios to make comparisons. The ratio of the number of squares to the number of circles, in this situation, would be 4 to 3. You can also write the ratio as 4:3. So you don't have to write the 2 in there. The colon actually represents 2. Okay? So copy both of these sentences, actually, all of this down onto your notebook. Draw the pictures of the shapes in there as well so you know what the heck you're talking about. It's a little less confusing when you include all the information. When you finish, push play and move on to the rest of the video. Okay, you can choose to work this out in your notebook or on a whiteboard or on your desk. That's up to you, but you do need to work this one out. You're running 2 different ratios to compare the number of headphones and the number of portable music players. Right? 2 different ratios in comparing headphones and portable music players. Now, go ahead and give this a shot and see if you can figure it out. And if you think you got it, check with your neighbor. And then when you guys got it together, push play and let's see if you got it right. Alright, so as you can see, there are 5 sets of headphones in this problem. And there are 6 music players as well. Okay? You can write your ratio as 5 to 6. Or you can write out your ellipses and write 5, 2, 6. Or you can say there is 1 less set of headphones than there are music players. All of those are considered ratios. Okay? Let's keep moving on. So say you wanted to get into the biology field, which is what one of my best friends is in. Her name is Savannah, and she is into wildlife biology. She got a job in North Carolina, and what her job is to sample water and make sure that the water is safe for the animals that live inside of it. So this is something that you would have to kind of keep in mind if you were to become a wildlife biologist. You would have to know the number of plants or the amount of plants, vegetation, that you have in the water compared to the amount of fish that you have in the water. And you have to see if that is a healthy amount. If you don't have enough plants, it would be harder for the water to be clean. And the fish might end up dying because the water is not safe for them to be in. So here in this situation, we're going to write the ratio of the number of fish to the number of plants. So again, you're going to count the number of plants you have and the number of fish. Since they say fish first, before they say plants, or we're comparing the fish to the plants, the number of fish is going to go first. So you have 9 fish. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like about 7 plants. Okay? That is what this ratio is going to look like. Or you can write 9 to 7. Okay? Again, we've been talking about this a lot during morning work, and hopefully we're starting to kind of understand what this kind of stuff means. Alright, this does not have to go into your notebook. Let's say that you have read 20 books from a series of 23 books. That's a pretty big series. Write the ratio of the number of books you have not read to the number of books you have read. Now stop. What we've been talking about lately is making sure that you read a question more than one time so you understand what it's asking. Okay? So in this situation, it says you have read 20 books. You have read 20 books from a series of 23 books. Okay? From 23 books. Write the ratio of the number of books that you have not read to the number of books you have read. Okay? So we're doing the books that we've not read to books we have read. Well, of the total number of books, which is 23, we've already read 20 of them, so we've read a lot. But we haven't read 3 of them. So keep in mind that we're comparing the number of books that we have not read to books that we have read. Okay? I'm going to use our colon in this situation to separate our 2 values. So we're comparing the 3 to the numbers that we have read, which was 20. Okay? 3 to 20 is our ratio of books we haven't read to books we have read. Now, 3 and 20 do not have a common factor, so that ratio cannot be simplified. 3 to 20 is as low as it can get. Okay, so every 20 books we've read, we haven't read 3 of them. And that's how this ratio right here works. So we're going to have a few parts that are really important that we're going to copy into our notebook. Here's part 1. If we were to have a part-to-part ratio, this is what it will look like. The ratio of the numbers of round blue beads, the number of oval-shaped red beads, would be 4 to 3. As you can see on this necklace or bracelet, whatever this is, there are 4 blue beads and 3 red beads. So it would be 4 to 3 as the ratio. The ratio of the number of oval red beads to the blue beads would be 3 to 4. Okay? Basically, a part-to-part ratio is talking about the 2 different parts that you're comparing. There's also a part-to-whole ratio. And this is basically saying that if you're comparing the number of blue beads to the total amount of beads there are, it will be written as 4 to 7. Or if you were comparing the number of red beads to the total amount of beads that are there, it would be 3 to 7. So part to whole takes your part and compares it to the whole. Now you can flip the part to whole and have a whole to part. That would be like saying, of the 7 beads there are on this bracelet, 4 are blue. Or of the 7 beads, 3 are red. Okay? Go ahead and pause this part, and I want you to copy down these notes. If you don't want to copy these down word for word, if you want to copy down sort of what I said, that's also okay, but you do need to know what part to part to whole, and whole to part are. Okay? Push play when you're ready to move on. Okay, so for these, you do not have to put these, into your notebook, but I do want you and your neighbor to figure out what the correct answer would be. So, this is a true or false situation. I want you to read the situation, which says, the table shows the results from the 6th grade election for class president. You can write different ratios to describe the election results. So say you're the person who's supposed to count the results. You need to understand how ratios work, so that way you're accurately counting the number of votes, okay? So on this chart, we have the number of votes for Devin, which is 20, Jordan, which is 10, and Micah, which is 5. Let's move to the true or false questions. Question 1. The ratio of votes for Jordan to total votes is 10 to 35. Alright, see if you and your neighbor can figure out what this one is. You figure it out and move on. B. The ratio of votes for Devin to votes for Jordan is 10 to 20. Alright, again you're answering true or false. Check with your neighbor and see if they got the same one. And then I want you to complete C through E by yourself. When you think you've got all the answers down, I want you to push play and see if you guys got it right. Okay, so pause the video for just a minute and see if you guys can figure it out. Alright, so in this part we're comparing number of votes to see who will win the election for class president. Let's look at the answer for A. The ratio of votes for Jordan to the total votes is 10 to 35. Now again, before you answer a question, you have to read it more than one time to make sure you understand. So we're comparing the ratio of votes for Jordan to the total votes in all, so total votes. Now I'm going to go back to our chart. Here, it says Jordan made 10 votes, so that part is correct. What about 35? Did 35 kids vote? Well, we know that 20 plus 10 plus 5 is 35. And that's the total. So the first situation is true. Let's move on. The ratio of votes for Devin to votes of Jordan is 10 to 20. Now again, this is going to be put in numbers in the same order that you put the names in. So Devin's name was first. The first number we see is 10. Did Devin get 10 votes? No, he did not. So we know that this B is already not accurate. So that's a false situation. Alright, what about C? The ratio of votes for Micah to the total votes. So again, it's order from whose or what is listed first. Micah, and then total votes. Micah did make 5. But look at the total. We talked about the total earlier, and then we said that it was 35. So we can't say one second we have 35 votes, and the other second we have 30 votes. So go back to your chart and count again to make sure you didn't miscount. As you can see, there were 35 total votes. So situation C is not true. D, the ratio of votes for Devin to the votes of Micah is 20 to 5. Devin made 20, Micah made 5. That is true. And lastly, the ratio of total votes to votes for Devin. Total votes was 35, Devin was 20. So that is true. Alright, which student won the election for class president? Hope you guys know that 20 in this situation is the most. Okay? Alright, you do not have to copy this into your notebook, or should skip this one. Alright, so in the lesson you learned some ways to compare quantities. What are some ways to compare quantities that we talked about? And how would you use them? So we did talk about ways to compare them and some situations where you might use them. I want you to think of a way in a situation. Write it down on your sticky note or flashcard and make sure that you turn it in to your teacher before you leave class today. Or you can write it in your notebook and show your teacher before you move on. Okay? When you've completed answering this question, I want you to get onto digits 10-1, and I want you to have a wonderful, awesome day. Thank you.